My name is Tiffany, and I am a sickle cell disease warrior. I am someone that lives with sickle cell every single day. I have been living with sickle cell for 36 years. I found out that I had sickle cell at the age of 4 from going through many crises, and they didn't know what it was or what it was that were making me have the pain that I was having until that it was sickle cell. At that point in time when I was born, I did not get tested, which is a very, very, very important thing for us to do once we become pregnant, especially if you know that you are in a relationship that even is only has the traits. Make sure your child is tested when they are born. Make sure you know the things that you're going to have to go through once you have that child, the things that your child is going to have to go through once they are born. I am coming today to do the Bold Lips for Sickle Cell Challenge to help raise awareness. Sickle cell does not have a lot of awareness out there to let people know what's going on because a lot of people don't know about sickle cell. They don't know what sickle cell does. They don't even know how sickle cell affects us or our families. So we as a sickle cell community need to help raise awareness and get others may know, and they may be able to follow in suit to help us out. Um, a lot of bad experiences with my sickle cell, dealing with doctors and nurses, and at times friends and family. Because a lot of people, since they don't go through it, they don't know the feeling. They don't know what you go through. They don't know your pain. So sometimes they really don't know how to deal with it. And that's another thing that we need to do is help somebody that has to deal with that on a regular basis, deal with what their family member or even their friend is going through so that they will know how to handle it in a better way. Because we are always cast as though we are drug seekers, which we are not. My pain level that I have on a scale of a 10 will not be the pain level that you have on a scale of a 10. My pain is very, very severe. Once our cells start sickling, that's when that pain kicks in. And the pain that I may have, say I may go through a crisis and it only lasts 5 minutes. Well, you may think that's nothing, but me going through that crisis for that 5 minutes feels like a lifetime to a sickle cell patient. That pain is so severe that it hurts everything in our body. Sometimes it is very hard to deal with. We at times cry out. I know me, I have lashed out at some family members, especially my mom, and she is one of my biggest supporters. But I have lashed out at her because I've gone through so much, and it's like, how can I continue to go through this? How can I continue to make it? But I know through this long journey that I have been through, I've made it because it was God and because I have a loving supporter like my mom. I ask that those that do have family members that have sickle cell, or if you know a friend that has sickle cell, please be patient with them. Please know that when they say they are hurting, don't automatically think that they're not. Don't automatically think that they're just out seeking for medication because that is not the case. Sickle cellers go through so much, so many changes with their body that other people just cannot realize how bad it is on us. Like I said before, I've had a lot of bad experiences with my sickle cell. I can remember one time when I was in the hospital, and I have been in there for about 2 weeks already, going through a sickle cell crisis. And at that point in time, I did not have a port yet, and my veins were already starting to become very, very bad. And um, they had took my I'm sorry. I had a oh Lord, I just forgot what it was. I had a PICC line. I'm sorry. I had a PICC line. And they took it out because they were going to take me downstairs to do a central lining. And when they took it out, I started having, well, while I was waiting in the room for them to take me downstairs to do the central lining, I started having really, really bad pains in my chest. My arms started hurting. My whole body just seemed like it was numb. Everything was just hurting, and the pain was getting more and more unbearable. It was more than just my crisis, and I knew that it was more than just my crisis because the way it felt. So I kept telling the nurses and telling my mom that something isn't right, something isn't right. And they just kept telling me, but because of the pain that you're going through, you have to wait until we can get your central line in so that we can give you your medicine. And I kept saying, it's not because I'm not getting my medicine, something just isn't right. And I kept saying it over and over again, but I kept getting the same response from the nurses that, oh, it's just because you don't have your medicine right now. So finally, I made them call my doctor. And my doctor came and he asked me what was going on. And so I told him, I said, something in my chest just isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but my arm is numb. My arm is hurting. My whole body is numb. My chest feels like it's just about to crack open. And so he made them do an EKG and come to find out having a heart attack. At that time, I had just turned 20 years old and I was having my first heart attack. I had to, of course, be rushed to a trauma hospital so that they could handle the situation. But glory be to God, I came out okay. But it's just a fact of, at that point in time, I was going through what I was going through. And I was that something just wasn't right, but they wouldn't believe me. It was all because, or should I say, they said it was all because I wasn't receiving any medication. But any medication at that point in time, they thought I was just upset because I couldn't get any drugs. But that wasn't the fact. The fact is, I was having a heart attack. And if I wouldn't have had the type of doctor that I had, one that listened to what I had to say and take me serious, that could have been a moment when I could have died. But glory be to God, he brought me on out. There was another time I can remember, and this actually just recently happened a couple of months ago. I kept telling my nurse, and at this point in time, the doctor that I had wasn't a good doctor, and I really wouldn't say he wasn't a good doctor, but he wasn't a doctor that really just wanted to listen to me. And I kept telling him that something wasn't right again. It just did not feel right. I couldn't breathe. I was out of breath. I was coughing up a storm. My chest was hurting. My stomach was hurting. It seemed like the whole world was just coming down on me. And I kept telling him something isn't right. So they finally did what they had to do, and come to find out, my lungs were collapsing on me. And it just took me for a shock that it doesn't make sense how much we have to go through with these doctors and these nurses, and they still pay us no attention. We are all sickle sellers, or should I say us that have sickle cell, we are fighting the same battle, true. But one thing a lot of people need to learn is my crisis is not going to be like another sickle cell crisis. Our bodies are different. Our bodies react in different ways when it comes to having a sickle cell crisis. So do not compare us and say, oh, well, so-and-so has sickle cell, but she doesn't do what she do. Well, guess what? We're not the same person. Our body is not the same. We just happen to be fighting the same disease. So don't compare us, don't judge us, don't look down on us, because we are the same as you. Somebody that's going a battle that they have to fight, and it's a hard battle that we are fighting. I hear all the time, you don't look like you're sick, you don't look like you have sickle cell. And I used to always just take that and say, oh, thank you. But then I got to thinking, well, what am I supposed to look like? What does a sickle cell patient look like? Am I supposed to be all dried up? Am I supposed to be humped over? Am I supposed to be sad all the time? No, that's not me. Because I have sickle cell, true. But I will not let sickle cell have me. I am made of more than that. I am stronger than that. And because of my crisis, because of what I have been through, I have become a stronger person. I may let sickle cell get me down for a second, but you can't have me forever. I will not let you win because I am a fighter. That's why we are called sickle cell warriors. We fight the good fight 24/7. We walk around with a smile on our face even though we're hurting deep down inside. And I tell people all the time, if you think you know me, if you think you know what I've been through, please walk in my shoes for 1 second and let me see how you come out. So I say again, do not look at us and judge us. Do not think that you know everything that we go through. And especially, I'm speaking to the doctors and the nurses, whoever may see this video. If you are in the professional field, nursing field, medical field, period. Sickle cell patient, listen to what they have to say because they know their body better than you do. Even though you're the one that went to school and got your little fancy degree, still do not know their body. The oncologist and hematologist, or doctor that I go to that is my doctor. The nurses, every time they get ready to access my port, I can always tell them what my port is like, how it's set deep down in my breast tissue, how it moves around, how at times it is so deep. And because I have had so many, and I am lucky to have them say, okay, Tiffany, we understand, we're going to listen to you. But I've also say, oh, I know what I'm doing. Been doing this for 20 years. Okay, because you've been doing it for 20 years, I'm the first one that you are doing now. You've never done Tiffany Medford before. So don't tell me that you've been in this profession for so long, because I can tell you I've had sickle cell for 36 years. So every time I go through a crisis, something is always different. It really irritates me to see somebody think that we are so low that we would go to the point of trying to get drugs. And let me say this, let me rephrase this. When you see a sickle celler, I'm not saying that we all handle sickle cell in a good way. There may be somebody out there or some out there that may just be out trying to get in high. I'm not saying we don't have those, because really with any disease, if you are taking heavy narcotics, that can go for anybody. It's not just for sickle cellers, so why label us that way? It can be for anybody that has cancer, ALS, let's see, what else is there? All diseases, I'm sorry, I can't think right now, but all the diseases, anybody that's on true. But just because that is a fact, don't think that it's only sickle cellers that do it. I have for about a good 20, almost 20 years. And even with the heavy medication, it does not run my life. I am not addicted to it. Now, I will admit at one point in time, when I first started trying to deal with sickle cell, I didn't have a very positive way of dealing with it. So yeah, at one point in time, it was all about, oh, I can't handle this. The first pain I get, I'm running straight to the hospital so they can give me some medicine so I can get it over with. But that was back then. That was when I didn't know how to deal with it. That was when I didn't have a good support system to teach me how to deal with it in a positive way. My mom, she was there for me, true. But at that point in time, she didn't know how to deal with it herself. It was fairly new to her. So, of course, if she couldn't deal with it and didn't know how to deal with it, she couldn't teach me how to deal with it. But we both now know how to deal with it. So I say again, please do not judge us. That is the only thing that's really on my mind right now, is the judgment that we get from people. The way that we are talked about by people. And like I said, it's not only doctors and nurses, it's family and friends. If you're going to be there for us, be there for us unconditionally. Don't always assume. Send us some of that positive energy that we all need. Not just to help us get through a crisis, but to help us through every day. Because you never know what you say to somebody. They may just assume that and just take that in and live in that negative life. And living a negative life with having sickle cell is not a good thing at all. Please reach out. Let someone know that, baby, I know that you're going through a lot. I'm here for you. Got your back. It's not all about trying to do something for us physically. Sometimes it's just the thought of you saying, I love you. Or it's just picking up the phone and saying, oh, you were just on my mind. I just thought about you. How are you doing? Those little things, they really mean a lot to us. This past year, I've seen so much that my sickle cell community has gone through. And it's hard to see your fellow warrior fall. It's hard to see them lose their life at such a young age. But I know they fought a good fight. They fought a good fight. And they have won the race. But it still hurts. So one more thing. Speaking to my sickle cell community. We all, and I say this again, we all are fighting the same battle. We get talked about enough from the outsiders. Can we please stop fighting each other? And instead of fighting against each other, let's come in unity and fight together. That's the way we're going to win this race. That's the way that we're going to be able to reach out and touch others so that they may come and help us spread the word that we need to have spread it. I know we have our attitudes, at least I know I do. Like being bothered, especially when we're going through a crisis. Sometimes we don't even feel like talking or nobody touching us or saying anything to us. But that doesn't mean that we have to be angry at someone that's trying to help us. And those that we talk bad, those that we may say something crazy to when they are trying to help us, would y'all please understand, we don't mean it. We're not trying to be angry or hurtful or even ugly towards you. It's just that at that point in time, when we're going through that crisis, we need that moment to ourselves, to gather ourselves so that we can go through this thing. I love each and every one. I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I'm thankful for the support that I get from my sickle cell community groups. I'm thankful for my sickle cell friends. I'm thankful for my warriors, my brothers and my sisters. I am thankful for all of y'all. Listening to your word, hearing your story, you hearing mine, your encouraging words, the love that you send, really brings a smile to my face. And it really lightens up my day. And it helps me get through the tough times. So, my love, I thank you. And know that if there's anything I can do, I am here. If there's any question I can answer, I will answer. And also, one more thing. Those that have ports, I am on my 7th port. As you can see, the scars on my chest are all from my ports. And I have been told several times by several people, I can't believe you show all those scars. I can't believe you're not covering them up. Well, let me tell you one thing. I will never cover these up. Because these right here, these are my testimony battles, my testimony wounds, my testimony badges that I've made it through. Never, ever, ever will I cover these up. Never will I be ashamed of them. I love them. God brought me through a lot, and he will bring you through too. So please, I just ask that you will share your story so that someone else will know what we go through. And those of you that aren't going through this disease, but you know somebody that does, be a helping hand. And even if you don't know anybody that goes through it, still be a helping hand. And know that you're human, just like you are. We go through everything that you go through, or should I say basically the same things that you go through. Sometimes our battles are just a little bit harder, and we got to fight a little bit longer and a little bit harder. But I thank you for listening to my story, a part of my story, and what I had to say. Again, my name is Tiffany, and this is for the Bold Lips for Sickle Cell Challenge. My sickle cell warriors, God bless, and I love you.